それでは、早速、ムタルサリフさん、イリナ・シェフチェンコさんご夫妻より、ロシアによるウクライナ侵攻からここに来るまでの経緯についてお話をいただきたいと思います。お話の方、通訳といたしまして、当会副会長でもあります、オジア留学生支援協議会事務局の鈴木慎吾より通訳をさせていただきます。はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
Okay, turn on the switch. Why don't you introduce yourself in 日本語 Just long. Okay. 少し日本語での自己紹介を勉強しましたので、それでまず自己紹介させてください。
おはようございます。
おはようございます。
はじめまして。私はサリフです。ウクライナから来ました。生まれはガーナです。医者です。医者です。外科医です。侍映画が好きです。よろしくお願いします。
はじめまして。私はエリナです。ウクライナから来ました。ウクライナの会社の会計です。おじやと寿司が好きです。よろしくお願いします。
Now, we want you to tell us how you decided Japan to live in and start your life here. Okay. And then maybe some impression about our time.
Okay. Thank you very much for having us with you here today. We would like to, first of all, acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Mayor, who is first seated at the right. And then we also want to recognize the entire Ojiya Refugee Aid for having made it the opportunity for us to be here. We wouldn't have been able to do it without their support. We thank all of them today.
Okay. はい。まずは市長様はじめ、それから避難民支援の会の皆さんに、私たちがこの日本に来て、オジアに来て生活することを可能にしていただいたことに心から感謝申し上げます。
Yeah, so to begin with, when we were in Ukraine, myself and my wife, Irina Shevchenko, we were in Ukraine until on the 24th of February 2022, this year, when Russia decided to attack Ukraine. And then in the beginning, our city was peaceful. We come from Dnipro city, which is at the eastern part of Ukraine. So our city was peaceful until on that fateful day in March, when the first missile attack landed in the middle of our city, and then we decided to leave. We had to move to my in-laws' house, that is Irina Shevchenko's family. We had to live with them for some few days, trying to decide as to whether to leave or to stay. But we realized that the situation wasn't getting better, and the Russians kept, putting more pressure. And then it was now a hard decision for us to make, because my father-in-law, that's Irina's father, he didn't want to leave. And then her mother too didn't want to leave because of her father. So it was kind of a difficult situation for me and Irina to leave. But her mom told us that we are young, and then we shouldn't stay. They can take care of themselves. So we should leave and then, find a better place to, continue with our career, start with life. And that was how we decided to leave Dnipro. And then we went to Slovakia, in Bratislava.
はい、今のところまでなんですが、本当に2月の24日のロシアの、攻撃が始まるまではとっても平和な生活を送っていました。で、3月の初めにドニプロに爆撃があって、もう命がないということで、ドニプ 離れた親戚の家にみんなでまずは避難して、でそこで、今後どうするかについて話し合いました。やっぱりとても難しかったのは、イリナさんのお父さんがどうしてもこのトニクルにも残って自分の家と町を守りたいということで、ここから離れたくない。でそうするとやっぱりお母さんもお父さんがそこにいる限りここから遠いところには行きたくないということで、そこが一番難しかったんですけれども、イリナさんのお母さんの方が、君たちはまだ若いんだから自分たちの新しい人生を求めて、ここに縛られないで自分たちの、生活をまず第一に考えて動きなさい、そういうふうに励ましてくれたんで、それで、そのドニプロを離れることに決めました。でスロバキアに避難したところです。はい、そこまでです。
So the journey was not easy, it was tough. We went to the bus station first we went to the train station to see if we could get a train to evacuate to Lviv, which is at the western part of Ukraine, sharing borders with Poland and Slovakia. So we went to the train station to look for a train, but they said the trains were only for women and children. Men were not allowed. So we had to go to a bus station to look for a bus. And then when we went to the bus station, the price was kind of tripled because it was expensive during that time for people to evacuate using the bus. But we had no option. We had to take it, and then we spent 22 hours on the way from Dnipro to Lviv. When we got to Lviv, we tried to see if we could get a train straight from Lviv to Bratislava, but it was there was no definite answer as to whether there's a train or not. The whole train station was crowded with people, and then we had to, seek the support of a good Samaritan who tried to take us to Uzhgorod. That's the border city town of Slovakia. So he took us with his own car, and then we paid him some amount of money. And then he took us to the border, and then we walked through the immigration, and then it was a smooth path at the border with Slovakia, Bratislava. So when we got there, we got a bus right from the border city to Košice. That is one of the main cities of Slovakia. So we got there, and then that was where we now got a train, and then moved straight to Bratislava.
はい、とりあえずその家族との話し合いの後で、ドニプロを離れることに決めて、そこから避難しようとしたんですけれども、まず電車の駅に行って電車に乗りたかったんだけれども、そこはもう電車の方は女性と子供しか乗れないということで、それから歩いて、かなり歩いて、一番近くのバス停まで行って、すごい人数の人たちがバスに乗りたがっていたんで、もうバス料金も高かったんだけれども、他にやり方もないのでバスに乗って、で、22時間バスに乗り続けて、で、スロバキア国境まで行きました。で、そして歩いて、スロバキアの国境を越えて、で、スロバキアの移民局を、通過して、で、それからまた、電車で、スロバキアの国内を、ずっと動いて、そして最終的にスロバキアの首都まで、たどり着いた。はい、そこまでです。
So at this point, one may ask why we came to Japan. The reason is because we try to find a way to actually continue with our lives as young couple. I being a doctor, it was important for me to put my knowledge to practice. And I had just finished with medical school. I was yet to do my internship, and then the war broke out in Ukraine, so it wasn't possible for me to continue with my internship there. So I wanted to find a place where I could do my internship. And there were many challenges in Bratislava because of certain, issues. One of it was racial issues, discriminations and stuff. So it was not easy for them to accept me into the internship program in Bratislava. So my wife and I decided to, find a better place where we can be safe, we can be comfortable, and then we can be able to get this opportunity for me to continue with my medical career. We didn't know which country to choose. So fortunately, someone recommended for me that Japan was a very good place for medical doctors to continue with their career. They have very good people, very hospitable, kind, and the culture was nice. So that was when I started making efforts to try to reach out to someone here to find out how to get to Japan. And then fortunately I met Mr. Suzuki-san here, and then he actually took us through. It wasn't easy because initially I tried to talk in my wife, and then we applied for visa to come to Japan. The first trial was debunked because I wasn't accepted. But Mr. Suzuki-san, with the support of the team, the mayor, they did very, very well to ensure that the embassy in Bratislava, Japanese embassy in Bratislava, gave us the visas to come here. And then we are here today.
Anything about racial discrimination that you faced in Slovakia? Can you say that?
Yeah. So because of the racial discrimination, we came. That was why we chose Japan, because we know that in Japan here, there's nothing of that sort. There's no racial discrimination, and the people are loving. They don't, choose between what color you have, your religious, variation and stuff. So Japan is the best place for us to have come, and then we made it.
でスロバキアに着いてからなんですけども、ちょうど自分が、ウクライナで理大を卒業したところで、研修医としてスタートしたばっかりのところで自分の道が閉ざされてしまったので、なんとかこの医療の勉強をそのまま続けたいという意思があったんですが、なかなか、東ヨーロッパの方では人種差別の壁があって、それが思うように進まないということが分かった。で、かなり落ち込んでいたときにこの、オジアの避難民支援の会の情報を目にして、そして、私の方に連絡を取ってきたんですけれども、最初のうちはちょっと奥さんに言い出せなくて内緒で連絡を取ってたんですけれども、連絡を取るうちにオジアでとても心のこもったサポートが待っているということで、安心してで、奥さんに話をして賛同を得て日本に来ることにしました。でできることならば本当に日本の医療技術の高さはよく知っているんで、そういった勉強にもつなげていければと思っています。
So when we was in airplane to fly to Japan, we was have some hopes and plans. And from the first step from the airplane, it's all become come true. The Ojiya is a very amazing place, the beautiful nature, very beautiful and cozy town. The people here is very supportive, very kind. When we are walking on the street, we are greeting people who we meet, they reply smiling. So Ojiya seems like it's the perfect place to build the families and raise your children. So we are very happy to be here and very grateful for this opportunity.
はい、小千谷に来てみて、本当に皆さんに温かく迎えていただいて、自然も豊かで、私たちのような家族がここでもし子供を産んで育てることができたら、本当に素晴らしい将来になるんじゃないかなというふうに今期待しています。
Maybe you can answer that question.
Yes.
はい、お二人から以上のようですので、
はい、サリスさん、シェフチェンコさん、大変ありがとうございました。それではこれより、いつもの皆様からのご質問ということですけれども、当初の取り決めの中で、当小千谷市政記者クラブ幹事会社であります新潟日報さんの記者の方が代表してご質問をされて、それ終わり次第、また新潟日報さんの方から他の皆様どうぞということで振っていただけるということで聞いております。では、新潟日報さん、よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、市政記者クラブ代表幹事の新潟日報の田中と申します。まずはこのような場を設けてお話しいただいてありがとうございました。
Thank you for this opportunity. He's from Niigata Nippon newspaper.
はじめまして。
まず、何点か質問させてください。来日までいろんな苦労があったと思います。スロバキアでどのような生活をしていましたでしょうか。
You must have came through all the hardships. How was your life in Slovakia as a refugee?
Yeah, in Slovakia, we actually didn't have all the necessary support as refugees to live our life. We were only living with my sister-in-law, that's Irina's son's sister. So we didn't have any refugee support from Slovakia. Yeah.
My sister had firm opinion that she and her husband tried to provide everything what we was need. So we decided to not take any support from Slovakian government. So it will be for somebody who needed more. So we are coping ourselves there. But in general, Slovakia was giving the refugees people to free transport to move in around the city and free riding in the Euro-Union borders. And the medical insurance too. So if you are sick, you can go and have a free medical care there. So like that.
What did you do for your living? Did you work?
Yeah, in Slovakia, it was very difficult for me to find a job because I remember I put through more than 30 applications to jobs and none of them, responded. So it was really hard. I tried to, just be a man, try to get something to do to earn a living for me and my family. So I had no option than to land one job to be working in a tennis court, to be maintaining the courts. It wasn't an easy task. There were certain days I would come back from work and I'll be like, I can't do this the next day, but I just couldn't stop. I just had to continue. So it was really, hard for me to make a choice, to make a decision as to, continue my stay in Slovakia or not.
はい、スロバキアではスロバキアを通過してで西ヨーロッパに流れていく方々への配慮はいろいろあったんですけれども、スロバキア国内で、は全く政府の支援とかそういったものを受けることはできませんでした。で自分のお姉さんの知っている方のアパートにほぼ 多くの人数で避難させてもらって、そこで、まずは仕事を見つけようと思ったんですけれども、20ほど仕事にインタビュー受けたんですけれども、全部断られるという感じで、多分それは自分の国籍のせいかなと思っています。で、結局得られた仕事はすぐ近くの学校のテニスコートの造成作業ということで、テニスコート作りを向こうではやっていました。
まず、その後オジアでの、支援の情報が目に入ったとき、どのように思われたでしょうか。
Well, when you found our message, how did you feel?
Oh, actually, we felt so excited, so happy initially when we found the information that there is support aid in Japan. But the problem was how to get started. And that was a very big risk we were supposed to take because we didn't know Suzuki-san, we didn't know anybody. And then we're just going to go through this process, putting our hopes in nature and then hoping that this was going to be successful. So for us, it was a very big task for me to convince my wife to accept this because I just couldn't give her all the necessary hopes. I just made her understand that that was the best decision for us to make. So when we actually got hold of Mr. Suzuki-san and then we started talking, he gave us all the hopes, the assurances that we are going to be comfortable and that we are going to be safe in Japan. So this was one of the key things that, got us hold to come to Japan.
As for me, for real, I was very happy to hear any option that will give opportunity for us to start to real living. Because of the war, all families in Ukraine and all people in Ukraine, the mothers and children who live in Ukraine, our lives was just on pause. We was living only today. We can't have tomorrow because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. So when you are in this position like 2 months, you are start to feel very frustrated. You don't know what will be in future. So when we can get this opportunity to become in Japan and start the real life, I like to have the breathe in the fresh air to have this opportunity. So thank you.
はい、受け取った時まずサリさんの方はすごいチャンスかなということでワクワクしたそうなんですけれども、ただオジアに知っている人間がいるわけでもなし、これをどの程度まで本当に信頼していいのかもわからないし、最初のうちは奥さんの方にはちょっと言い出せなかったそうです。ただ私たちとずっとコンタクトを取るうちにもうこのチャンスを逃したくないというふうに思って奥さんにお話しした。で奥さんももうその避難所ではもうその日その日の生活が手一杯で、この先明日自分たちがどうなるのか全く分からない状態だったので、これにすがってみようということで2人で話し合って決心をしました。はい、
それで日本までの、かなり長旅だったと思います。まずビザを取得できるかどうかというところもいろんな壁に立ちはだかりながらの来日になったと思います。その辺何か入国に向けて不安なこと、当時振り返って不安なこと何かあったら教えてください。
After you decide to move to Japan, you have to get the visa and you have to get the flight, and there are many difficulties, right? So could you tell them a bit about it?
Okay. So when we got the green light from Suzuki-san that we could come over to Japan, we had to start the process of getting the visa. So I personally sent an email to the Japanese embassy in Bratislava, to the consulate, and then I was given a feedback, and the feedback was that they will decide when we can put our application through. So I waited for 2 days and there was no response. So I wrote again. And usually, the first one when I sent the email, 12 hours they sent a reply. But the second one when I sent the email, 2 days they didn't reply. So I had to call them by phone. So when I called, there was one gentleman at the embassy, at the consulate, Kimura-san. He spoke with me and then he told me that according to the rules of Japan, in giving refugee aid and status to foreigners, it was only for Ukrainians. So it was like, what's going on? Maybe it's not going to go through again. So I quickly spoke to Suzuki-san and I told him what happened. So he said I shouldn't worry, and then he will talk to the consulate again, and then to ensure that, explain for them to give us the visa. So after 2-3 days, I got a message again from Suzuki-san saying that we can go back. So I didn't even call yet, and then Kimura-san called back and said that he had a conversation with Ojiya Refugee Aid, and then we are now accepted to come and then apply for our visas. It was like a dream. We were so happy. And since then, everything has been smooth. Kimura-san had been very, very good to us, right from the beginning to the end. And he ensured that even till now we're in contact, and then he's, trying to find out how safe we are and comfortable we are.
はい、確かに難しかったということです。こちらで会で話し合って、じゃあこの人たちを受け入れることを決めようということで決定した後で私が彼らに、その旨を伝えたんですけれども、その時はとても嬉しくて、でその後すぐ在スロバキア日本大使館の方に、申請をしたんですが、なかなか返事が来なくて、で自分で電話をしてみたら、そちらの方から日本に全く身寄りもいないのになんで日本なんだ、それからそのウクライナ国でやっぱり支援できるのはウクライナ国籍の人に限られてしまうので、今回はそのビザを出せないということで、まず一旦却下されたということで、それで、私たちの方で大使館と連絡を取りながら、もう一回この会の方に持ち帰って、そして、オジアのこの避難民支援の会、会長名なんですけれども、身元保証を確実にするんで、なんとかビザを出していただけないかということで、ウクライナスロバキアの大使館に連絡をしました。で向こうで木村さんという大使館員の方にとってもお世話になったということなんですが、その方からいろんな情報をいただきながら、ビザの申請用紙を揃えて、そして、ビザをゲットすることができました。とってもハッピーでした。はい。
で無事オジアに来て数日しか経ってないと思うんですけれども、オジアの印象をお聞かせください。
Okay, your impression in Ojiya for 12 days.
It's amazing, beautiful, perfect place for living. We are happy to be here, and it's the best choice for us because this city has amazing nature, amazing friendly people, very beautiful place.
はい、もう驚くくらい皆さんが親切で、そして、この自然がきれいで、私たちにとっては本当にパーフェクトな場所だと思っています。 もう感謝でいっぱいです。
Yeah, and also, I remember before we made the journey to come to Japan, I spoke to a friend that finally we are coming to Japan. We made it, we're coming to live here. And the person was like, can you stay in Japan? Because they have very strict rules, very strict culture and stuff. And I was like, well, if they are living there and then they are able to live by these rules and culture, I think we can also do it. And honestly, when we got here, I don't see anything really hard about the culture. Everything is normal. It's just about being disciplined and then being morally inclined and being kind. That is all. So I don't see anything really hard about the Japanese culture, no difficulty and no challenges. So everything has been fine. The people are good, very nice and supportive. Thank you.
はい、サリスさんの方は来る前に日本に行くって言ったら友達から日本ではいろいろな細かいルールがたくさんあってそれはとっても厳しいものだ、それから日本の文化も独特なものなんでそれに適応できるかどうか心配してるっていうふうに言われてたんですけど、自分も心配してきたんですが、もう来てみたら全くそういうことはなくて、とっても自由な気持ちで今生活させてもらっています。日本の文化もすごく興味深い文化で楽しませてもらっていますということです。
Yes, my sister and my mom, they now located in Slovakia, in Bratislava city. But my father, he's still in Ukraine, in Dnipro. Every morning we say each other good morning. Usually it's me because the time difference is big. It's 7 hours with Slovakia and 6 with Dnipro. So I write them good morning. When they wake up, they write at me. So we try to have connection every day, as often as possible. And for my dad, we have a special rule with him that every evening, so in our time here it's 10 p.m. and for my father is 6. So we have a video call. So we are sharing how was our day, to find out how he is and what is going on there too. So yes, it's very important. Every day we have contact with my family. Thank you.
はい、私のお父さんはまだドニプロに残っていますし、で、お母さんとお姉さんはスロバキアの避難所で国に帰れる日を待っています。だから私は本当に毎朝毎晩家族とは連絡を取り合って、時差が7時間あるんで、夜の10時ぐらいにお父さんとは毎日ビデオ通話していますし、家族との連絡は私にとってはとても大切なものです。
でまだロシアの、ウクライナへの攻撃が続いている状態です。こういう状況に対して平和への願いなどありましたらお聞かせください。
Still, Russian army is bombing your country every day. What do you feel about that?
Today, even situation become more severe because the Russian army start moving forward to Zaporizhia. It's the closest city to Dnipro, and seems like the situation become the position when the quantity of the Russian army is much bigger than the Ukrainian. So for Ukraine now it's very difficult to keep the positions now, so they can't fight back the territory that Russia already take. And today Ukraine needs all possible support from the world to defend our country. What I feel about it, when I think about the Russian soldiers who invade in Ukraine and murder the Ukrainian people, I feel very angry, and then I feel helpless because only what I can do from my side is to send to support to Ukrainian army and to defend the territory defense which is belong to the Dnipro. It's very injustice, and I really hope so that all people who do these terrible things will be punished. I can say.
Yeah, so she's becoming emotional because the situation surrounding Ukraine is really terrible, and I don't think this will only affect Ukraine if the world is silent, because when Russia succeeds in defeating Ukraine, they will not stop there. They will continue to attack many other nations that they feel they are stronger than. So it is the best opportunity for the whole world to come out and support Ukraine, to ensure that they maintain their, they get their the independence, and they maintain their border integrity. So yeah, we really feel very bad that this thing is happening today, and then it is putting so many lives in jeopardy. Look at me, for instance. I should have been doing my internship, supporting the less needed people, you know, towards their health. But because of the situation that is happening in Ukraine, it's impossible. And then we are here. So in one way or the other, if you feel that maybe it is only happening in Ukraine and you are not bothered, but it will affect all of us indirectly. Yeah.
はい、まずイリーナさんの方なんですけれども、今回の戦争には全く正義がないというふうに感じている。もう東部からのロシアの、侵攻はかなり激しくて、でもうドニプロにも迫ってきているんで、心配だと。やっぱりその怒りを感じるということなんですけれども、そこまで話したときに少しちょっと感情的にそういうところになるとどうしてもこう感情が出てしまうんでということで旦那さんが引き継いだんですけれども、彼の場合もやっぱりもう個人的にも自分の将来を台無しにされた怒りを感じている。できれば世界の多くの国がウクライナを助けるために立ち上がってくれると嬉しい、はい、そういうことだと思います。
で今後のことになりますけれども、オジアでどのような生活をして、例えばどういう働き先に働きたいですとか、もしくはオジアでなくても今後どういう人生を歩んでいきたいとか、その辺にお聞かせいただければなと思います。
What is your life plan in Ojiya? For short term or in the long span?
Yeah, our life in Ojiya depends on how long the war will last. We all hope that this war will end soon, and then we can go back to Ukraine, possibly with the opportunity to help the affected victims towards recovery. But when you think of good, think of the opposite side too. So in case the war will last longer, we cannot stay like that. We need to work, we need to take care of ourselves, we need to feed, and then I also need to, build on my medical career. So it will depend on the situation. So if the war doesn't last longer, we'll go back to Ukraine and then we'll help the war victims. But if it should last longer, we'll have to get some jobs to do. We'll have to, get incorporated into the society of Ojiya, and then I'll have to, continue with my medical career as well.
So our main goal is to learn the language, find a job, and to continue support the people of Ukraine who need to be supported, like the Ukrainian army and territorial defense too. So our main goal today is to learn the language.
はい、もちろんウクライナでの戦争がどれくらい長引くかということで全く違ってくると思うんですけれども、もし短期間に戦争が終結するようであれば、自分も医者なんでなるべく早めにウクライナに帰ってで傷ついた人たちの手当に当たりたいということです。で、もし長引くようでしたらまずは日本語を早く覚えて、で仕事に就けるようになって、で少しでもお金を稼いで、でそれをウクライナの軍の支援とか、それから医療の支援の方に送りたいと思っている。はい、以上です。
ありがとうございました。それでは当社から質問をお願いします。
はい、それでは他のご質問ある会社様いらっしゃいましたら、挙手をお願いいたします。例によりまして、挙手した後、私の方で指名いたしますので、所属者、氏名をお名乗りいただいた上でご質問いただければと思います。それではよろしくお願いいたします。はい、どうぞ。
朝日新聞の白石ニュースペーパー。イブナさんの、お伝えかもしれませんが、直近のお父さんのウクライナでの生活の様子などが話せるようでありましたら、ちょっと教えていただけないでしょうか。
Well, are you able to talk about your dad's situation in Dnipro now? How he's spending his day?
My father have a job. He is the security guard on the place where they park in cars and left them on the night. So he have a job. 1 day he working and 2 days he's free. So after he works, usually because they spend 24 hours on the job without almost sleep. So he is on the next day he have some rest, and because now there's the time when all Ukrainian peoples usually go on their place we call dacha. So it's a house behind the city with a small piece of the land when you can plant vegetables and other stuffs. So in the late spring he was going there, put plants, so in the autumn he will have potatoes and different vegetables during the summer. So he go there, farming, then return to the city. Day before yesterday, he was going to find the drugs for himself. He have the one disease that he need constantly to take the drugs. So he spent almost all day to travel to Dnipro to find the pharmacy where he can get it. So this day he spent to try to get the drugs. He succeed, he get it. So every day it's like that. He going to the job, return, visiting the garden, then back. So when the air alarm is sounding, I of course ask him, we have a rule that when you have the air alarm, you go all in shelter under the ground somewhere, or if you have an opportunity to do it, you just must remain in the place with the two walls between the street. So in apartment of my parents, it's usually the corridor. But only if I ask him, like I have notification on the phone that the alarm in Dnipro is now sounding, then I just connect him and ask him, Dad, please go there, stay there, and try to talk with him during this time when he is there. But usually he don't go there. He just live the usual life, because the position of my dad about all of this situation, that he was building all his life, home, he raising the children, he have life there. And that somebody just decided he did come and take it, just to take his normal life, take his happiness. He just not agree with it. So he's just confront all of it and just try to live his usual life. Yes.
はい、 今お父さんは一人で自分の家に住んでるんですけども、仕事としては駐車場の管理人をやっているんで、24時間そこで続けて管理をして、でその後1日2日休むという状況です。で休みの日には、すぐ近くで自分で食べる分の野菜やじゃがいもを育てているということです。で、やっぱり空襲警報が鳴ると防空壕の中に何時間も何日も避難しなければならないことがあるんだけれども、お父さんとしてはなるべくこれに負けないで日常生活を続けていきたいっていう普段の生活を続けていきたいというふうに考えているわけです。
はい、他にご質問ある会社の方いらっしゃいましたでしょうか。はい。
テレビ新潟の本間と申します。よろしくお願いします。
テレビ新潟。
先ほどイリナさん毎日ご家族の方と連絡を取られているとお話しされてましたけども、このオジアの生活についてはどのように伝えてますでしょうか。
You've been talking to your family members every day, and how you are explaining the life in Ojiya to them.
This night, we were spending first time in our apartment that was given us by Ojiya City. So in the evening, we were showing the tour on our apartment. So all family in Slovakia was on the phone. Then we show everything what we have there. The place is very cozy and very comfortable. So we are grateful for this. Then about the food, I usually make pictures, the food that we eat, because it's quite different from what that we are used to it. But it's very oishi. So every day they see that we are happy, we are safe, we are happy, we have plans for future. So they supporting us completely. And then my older niece have like a lot of Japanese culture. So invisible future, if we are bit here, and then she wanna come to visit. And then I tell all my family about it. You for sure must come to Japan. You for sure must travel in the country which is completely different where you was born, because it's completely amazing, different experience that you can get here. The Japan is amazing country for traveling. I advise it everybody. Thank you.
はい、2日前に市で用意していただいた住宅に予約が入って、で新しい生活が始まりましたので、その部屋の様子とか何が置いてあるかみたいなのをビデオで映しながら家族に説明しています。で、親戚の中には日本にとっても興味を持っている子もいるので、そういう子たちとも連絡取りながら、いつか私たちがここにいる間にオジアに来れたらいいなっていうふうに話をしています。
次、ムタルさんにお伺いしたいんですけども、先ほど日本の文化にとても興味深いとおっしゃっていましたが、このオジアに来て驚いたものありますでしょうか。
Is there anything that surprised you in Ojiya? The Japanese culture.
Yeah. Before we even came here, I had the interest in the Japanese culture because I have watched several movies in Japanese, and it was amazing. Some of them are the Last Samurai, the 47 Ronin, and I love those movies. So before I got inspired by the Japanese culture, and I was hoping that one day I will have the opportunity to visit Japan and then have a catch of the culture, and then here I am today. And then when I came here, I have actually had the opportunity to see some of them. The first one we saw that surprised me was the koi fish. Nishikigoi. Yeah, very, very beautiful fish. I have never seen them before. And when Suzuki-san sent us there, and I saw the fish, how friendly they were, how big and expensive they were, I was like, wow, this is, quite inspiring. And then also we went to the electronic shop to buy a few gadgets. And then I've been a medical doctor. I saw some BP apparatus, and I have never seen it before. Never in my practice, And I was like, wow, Japan is really living in the future. Yeah. And then also we had the opportunity to visit the kimono show, and then they showed us how to tie the obi. It was amazing, and it was really very, very interesting. So I really want to learn more about Japanese culture, and possibly I want to be a samurai.
はい、国にいる時から七人の侍だとかラスト侍とか映画にハマっていたのですごく日本の文化にも興味があったんですけど、今その日本の文化の中に自分が入ってきてみて、まだ数日ですのでいろんなのをこれからだと思ってるんですけども、まず一番驚いたのは錦鯉だそうです。こんなに綺麗な魚がいるのだ。で、値段も聞いてびっくりということでした。小千谷の錦鯉の里で自分たちで手から鯉に餌をやったのがすごく印象的だったようです。それからあとドラッグストアでいろんな器具を見たときに、自分は医者なのですごく興味を持ったのが血圧計。今日本にもう本当に簡単に血圧が測れるようなものがあって、こんなのは医者のキャリアの中でも初めて目にしたんで、日本はすごく進んでいるなというふうに感じました。それから、着物のショーにも連れて行ってもらって、たくさんの方が着物を着ているのを見て、自分たちもこういうのを着て、いつかは自分も侍になってみたいなということだそうです。はい。
はい、お願いいたします。
NHK の理解と申します。今日はお話の理解を作っていただいてありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for talking about yourselves.
Thank you too.
まずお伺いしたいのが、鈴木さんと一緒にそれこそいろんなオジアを回る機会あったと思いまして、これからもいろいろ回られる、いろんなところに行かれるとお伺いしたんですけれども、オジアの人々だったり、新潟の人たちと触れ合ってどんなお話をしたいですか、どんなメッセージを伝えたいでしょうか。
Well, you'll be seeing many people in this area, and what do you want to talk to them? About your country or about your future?
Yeah, seeing many people coming around us in the streets, we wish that we by now could speak the Japanese language to express ourselves very much. So when we get the opportunity, I think we would like to talk more about ourselves, more about our countries, to share, cultural differences, and then, learn a little more about, the countries and the culture. Yeah.
今まで多くの人にお会いできたし、これからもたくさんの地域の方と会っていけると思うんですけれども、ただやっぱり日本語ができないのがちょっと悲しいんで、一生懸命日本語を勉強して、それから自分たちのこと、それから文化の違い、もう本当にいろんなことをお話をしていきたいということです。はい。
自分たちのことというのはこれまでの経験だったり、ちょっと自分たちのなんていうんでしょう、お人柄をお話ししたい。
About yourselves is that your personal career and the things happening in Ukraine and things like that.
Yeah, about developmental differences. For example, like how I grew up in Ghana, in the African culture, is probably very different from here in Japan. And it would be very interesting if, for example, I will share my life experience with someone, and then the person also tell me how he or she, lived his or her life, and we compare how it is different from my country and all that. And also, as Suzuki-san rightly said about the culture, yeah, we would like to share the culture too, because in my country we have several customs and then festivals that we celebrate, and I would like to share it with the Japanese people, and I would also like to hear from them, how they also go about their celebrations. Yeah.
I don't really understand the question.
Well, he said he wants you to talk to the Japanese people about yourself. What about yourselves?
Okay. So, I never thought that I will marry on the men from different continent, but it's happened. And of course, the difference of the cultures like Ukraine, Ghana, and Japan is different completely. Yes, it's true. But seems like we are such kind of the persons who open to learn different cultures. So it was like, I don't know. I will gladly to talk about the Ukrainian cultures, our food, our traditions, because it's very beautiful, and have like Ukrainian songs that we have. They have no writers. It was like created from people. So we singing, it's in celebrations, in the old culture. Of course, the young people now, for example, like here where Chikako-san bring us on kimono show, they usually was the people behind 30s, so no young people. So the same in Ukraine. So we are trying to support our Ukrainian culture, and I gladly share it. And any questions that you want to ask about it, I will answer.
はい、さっき自分たちのことについてっていうことでしたけど、サリさんの場合は自分は、ガーナで生まれ育ったんで、ガーナの、自分の人生、それからガーナの文化、日本の文化の違いについていろいろ話をしながら勉強していきたい。で、奥さんの方はもう国際結婚ですので、本当に国によって文化が全く違うし、でまた共通点もあって、例えば、着物ショーに連れてってもらった時に結構日本では着物を着る方はほぼ年配の方ばっかりだで、そういう世代による違いもやっぱり自分たちの国にもいろいろあるんで、そういったところも含めてウクライナの美しさだとか食べ物だとかを、オジアの方に伝えていきたいということです。
はい。
NSC の松村と申します。冒頭日本語でご挨拶されましたけれども、1日どれくらい10日余りであそこまでお上手だったと思いますが、お勉強されているんでしょうか。お二人が。
はい、私のから答えてもいいですか。はい、本当に7日間最初自粛待機期間ということで、なるべく他の方に会わないような感じでいたところもあって、で本当に日本語のレッスンをしたのは今までまだ3回程度です。はい、賞味3時間くらいですので、ただその中で結構細かい言葉は自分たちが興味を持ってピックアップして覚えてくれているんで、ちょっと試してみましょうか。Okay, your Japanese checkup test. Okay. I'm hungry.
お腹すいた。 お腹ペコペコ。
Tired.
疲れた。
Thank you and you're welcome.
ありがとうございます。どういたしまして。
はい、すごい覚え早いです。多分半年ぐらいでなんか皆さんより上手に話せるようになってる。
先ほどのお話の中で、サリフさんは戦争ということで自身の将来を奪われたというようなことを感じたとおっしゃっていましたけども、そういう本当に苦しい理不尽な状況にあって苦労されて避難をされて、今前向きに日本に溶け込もうと努力されるお気持ちというのはどういうものなのか教えてください。
Your career was severely damaged because of the war, but I think you are now full of hope for the future. And she wants you to talk about it.
Yeah, so the very day the war started, it was on the 24th of February, 2022. And that was the exact day I got my certificate. So it was kind of, and even till now, most of my colleagues, those I graduated with, have not had their certificates yet. They don't even know when they will get it. So for me, I think it's a blessing that, one, I have gotten my certificate on the day the war broke out, and then it is also a blessing for me to be here in Japan, and because it's going to, give me the opportunity to continue with my career, to learn more about Japanese medicine, and then to be able to help, the sick using the skill that I will get here in Japan.
はい、一緒にウクライナの医大を卒業した仲間の中で、その卒業証書の配布がやっぱりコロナの影響なんかで遅れていて、で自分は2月の24日、ロシアの侵攻があった日に初めてそれを手にしたんだそうです、卒業証書で、まだほとんどの学生はそれを受け取っていない状態なんで、自分より悲惨な学生もたくさんいるんですけども、でもそうやって自分はその受け取ったし、それを持って日本に来ることができたんで、なんとかそれを生かせるような将来の道を進めていきたいということで、希望は、はい、持っているそうです。
希望というのは医療関係でそのあたりの
Your hope, you want to pursue your career as a doctor, right? In the medical field.
Surgeon.
Yeah, so right now, my main goal is to continue to do with my internship. And after internship, I will go into a residency where I will choose a specialty. So all time being along, my main aim is to be a surgeon. And I have had several experiences about surgery. I have operated quite some few cases with success. So surgery for me is the best, specialty that I know I can, perform better. And then also in surgery, I have a main desire, which is plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery. Yeah, to be able to, make the woman look more beautiful and, all that. Yeah.
はい、私も初めて聞いたんですけども、自分は外科医で、手術がとても好きなんです。だからできればその道をやっぱりどこかで時間かかってもやっていきたい。でそれから、もう一つ今とても自分が興味持っているのが美容整形で日本の女性を美しくしたい初めて聞きました。
ありがとうございます。最後にイリナさんに常に手を握り合っているお姿が印象的ですけれども、この小千谷での日々夫婦でどのようにどんな時間にしていきたいかというのをイリナさんに一言いただければと思います。
You're usually, staying hand in hand. You can. And how do you continue your marriage life in Japan when I'm in Ojiya? Hard question.
Hand holding.
This is our first marriage for me and for Selifu, and we are married when we was above the 30 already. So we really was waiting right partner with who you can live your life, like with the one who you love, your friend, your partner, who will support you during all your life. So yes, when we are holding hands, he is my support and I am his support, and this holding hands make me feel comfort, like the part of he is my home. Where he is, then there is my home. So anytime I hold his hand, I feel safe and loved. So that's why I hold him. You can translate and then I continue.
これ2人とも私たちにとって初めての結婚です。で、2人とももう本当にこの出会いが自分たちにとって最高の出会いだというふうに感じています。で、私は彼のサポーターだし、彼は私のサポーターだし、で、手を一緒につないでいるときはとっても自分は安全に感じています。2人で頑張ります。はい。
And of course, sorry, I continue that. When we were in Slovakia, we will have the 10 people in one apartment. And when we sleep, we have 5 people in one room. So here in Ojiya, of course, now we have time for ourselves. And we are grateful for it.
スロバキアでの避難生活の中では、2部屋に10人の避難状態だったので、3ヶ月間ずっと1部屋で5人ずつ寝泊まりしていました。だから今こうやってオジアに来て2人だけの空間が持てるというのはすごく幸せです。
はい。新聞の斉藤申します。長時間のあたりありがとうございます。
どういたしまして。
オジアでの生活、少しずつ始まっていると思うんですけれども、なんか困っていることとか、こうなればいいなっていうのはご希望みたいなものっていうのはありますか
？Through your life in Ojiya, do you feel any difficulty? Anything that you want to change?
Only jet lag.
So far, we haven't had any difficulty because we were even thinking that the language was going to be difficult. But when we started, we realized that it was, not as difficult as it was going to be like, yeah. It's smooth. And yesterday, I even learned one phrase, chochoi no choi. So for us, Japanese language for now, chochoi no choi, piece of cake. Yeah, and then the other thing I try to find problem with is the use of the road.
Oh yes.
Yeah, in Ukraine and in my country,
That's right.
we drive on the right and like that. So here, when we came and then we saw that it was totally different. So it has to take time before we get used to the lanes and how to ride our bicycles and start. So that's the only challenge for now we have. Apart from that, we have no problem. Thank you.
はい、生活の難しさはほとんど感じていません。で、言葉がとにかく日本語は難しいよって聞いて覚悟してきたんですけども、でもいろんな言葉を覚えられていてすごく楽しいです。ただ本当に細かい、生活のルールで自転車に乗るときも走る側が自分の国とは違ったりしているので、そういうところはもう慣れていくしかないかなと思っています。
まだ始まって、オジアの生活始まってまだそんなに時間経ってないと思うんですけれども、何かオジアでとか、新潟とか、日本でやりたい活動みたいなものっていうのはありますでしょうか？
Is there anything you especially want to do in Japan while you are in Japan? like visit Mount Fuji.
I really want to go on camping in woods. Yeah, to spend time on nature and maybe climbing on some mountains. So I really want to get this experience. And then more, we want to visit some of the temples that there is in Ojiya. It will be a very interesting experience too.
Yeah, and as a prospectus candidate for being a samurai, I want to learn more about the Japanese culture. I want to visit the shrines and the temples to learn more about how to become part of the Japanese culture.
はい、イリナさんの方は自然が大好きなんで、森の中を散歩したり、また、山登りをしたい。で、あと小千谷の中にもたくさん神社、お寺あるんで、そこを巡ってみたいということです。旦那さんの方は、侍になりたいんだけど、ちょっと無理そうだから、できるだけ日本のその古い文化に触れたいと、はい、ことです。
ありがとうございます。すみません、会の方にちょっとお伺いしたかったんですけれども、今までお二人とあちこちに行かれたみたいなことをお話しされてましたけれども、どちらの方に行かれたかということをちょっとお伺いできればと思ったんですけど。
いいですか。はい、本当にまだ待機期間向けで何日でもないんで、本当にあんまりどこも行ってないです。山本山から小千谷の風景を眺めたり、あと、2、3ドラッグストアとか、それからスーパーに行ってお買い物をしたりとか、そうですね、錦鯉の里は行きましたけれども、まだまだこれからだと思います。
ありがとうございます。
もう始まったりの準備とか見たりですとかありますし、神社回ってみたいということもありますので、またそういったものを中心に、はい、考えていければと思っております。はい、大変お忙しい中ありがとうございました。まだご質問、足りないという方もいらっしゃるかもしれませんけれども、開始より1時間過ぎておりますこと、またこの後、午後の公務でこのところを使うためのその準備ということもあろうかと思いますので、ここで質問の方を締め切らせていただきたいと思います。最後に私から今お話を聞いていただきました通り、サリフさん、シェフチェンコさん、日本に対して大変なる親しみ、興味、そして敬意を持って来てくださって、今もいろいろとこの日本の中でもかなり片田舎のオジアという町を見ていただいた中でも敬意を持って接してくださっております。私たちホストチームといたしましても、そういった期待を裏切らないように、しっかりと充実した日本での生活を送れるように努めていきたいと思っておりますので、どうかこれからも変わらぬ応援の方よろしくお願いいたします。はい、それでは以上をもちまして、サリフさん、シェフチェンコさんの記者会見の方を終了させていただきます。本日はお忙しい中お越しいただきまして大変ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。We would like to thank all the media for spending time to come to take this coverage. I'm really grateful, and then we hope that in future we will be able to meet one-on-one, and then we can have a good time to spend together. And I hope that there will be peace in the world. Everyone will be peaceful, everyone will be happy, and then life will go on normally. Thank you very much. Thank you to the people of Japan.
最後にここに来ていらっしゃる記者の皆様とできれば今度お一人ずつゆっくりお話しする機会がいただければ嬉しいということで言ってますので、またよろしくお願いします。
はい、大変ありがとうございました。以上で終了とさせていただきます。ありがとうございました。
すみません、一つだけ。